Yesterday we were discussing these categories of individuals along the line of attainment, namely Avati Tinyu, Vipassana Tinyu, Neya Pogala. And then the fourth one is Paraparama. As for the first two, namely Avati Tinyu and Vipassana Tinyu, the two fast attainers, the first one is the fastest attainer, and the second one stands second, next to the first one. And as for these two individuals, they can understand the Dhamma teaching and gain insight after being mindful, after listening to the Dhamma, to the teachings, either in brief or in detail, and being mindful and fully aware, are able to gain insight. As for the third one, namely Neya Pogala, this person has to listen to teaching, either in brief or in detail, and with the help of Kalyana Maita, good companion, he or she has to undertake the practice and eradicate or overcome the Kilesas impurities, and will be able to understand the teachings and gain insight in this way. And also we discuss about the application of the Samavara, Lunavariya, right exertion or right endeavor, in order to dry up the Kilesas with the heat of energy. And with the application of this, we are bound to realize the benefit of the practice. And this has to be done by the students or the yogis. As for the Buddhas, they only give the method of practice and they act as guide. And if one walks according to the guidance, walks the right path, be mindful and fully aware of the samatha object as well as vipassana objects of tranquility, practice, conceptual object, and insight object of mind and body, and keep walking the path of Satipatthana, way of mindfulness, one will be released from the bondage of Kilesa, Kila, Mara, and be able to understand the teaching and gain insight. And this is how it has been shown in the text. So whoever wishes to be free from the bondage or released from the bondage of Mara, Kila, or Madara, one has got to practice the way of mindfulness by guarding oneself, with vigilant mindfulness of every arising. And if one walks the right path, one is bound to reach the right destination. One has to walk the correct path. And at these times, most of the practitioners are Neya Pogala. They belong to the third category. Just look at this instance. And even if the Buddha himself had to give close guidance as a meditation teacher and correct their practice and watch them, supervise them day and night continuously, and these four bhikkhus were practicing, and each of them attained the Anapana the first day, second day, third day, fourth day. And so the Buddha himself had to give guidance, correct their practices, so that they could be able to realize the fast path consciousness. So it is quite evident that these four individuals had to undertake the practice as practicing yogis. And even the Buddha himself had to act like a meditation teacher, and in this way they can be called Neya Pogalas. That means the individuals belonging to the third category. As is given evidently, quite obviously in the Pali text, and this is how these practitioners attain the fast path consciousness, Sarabhana. And it is especially, there's ample proof given in the late Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw's discourse on Dhammacakka, turning of the wheel of the Dhamma. So if somebody says or teaches that by just listening to the Dhamma, one can accomplish the purpose, that is, realize the Dhamma, and attain the Sarabhana, and one need not take the practice. Just listening and talking, listening to the talk is enough to accomplish the purpose means, then one can take that, one can understand that this is contrary to the Buddha's very words. And such teachings are outside the Buddha's dispensation sasana, or just like the doctrines or teachings void of the Eightfold Path. So, such teachings void of Magga, the path, one can say that there is no practice of Eightfold Path in such a teaching. So those people who are addicted, who take such views, can understand that there is no such thing in such teaching, that there is no such thing as even the realization of the first path and other Kilesas extinguishers. So, and later on, the Buddha has already explained that in such teachings, there cannot even exist the meditating Vipassana yogis. As has been explained, that it is quite obvious that in whatever teaching there is no practice of the Eightfold Path, there cannot be samana who extinguish the Kilesas. And conversely, it goes without saying that whatever teaching there is this practice of the noble path of the constituents, there can be samana who has extinguished Kilesas. Such is the Dhamma principle laid down by the Buddha. And then the Buddha continued to assert that only in his dispensation, in this teaching, where there is a practice of Eightfold Path, there can be only, if one practices in accordance with the instructions, there can be these Kilesas extinguishers who practices in accordance with the instructions. And this is how the Buddha said, asserted, that as Shadow has given, Imasame ko Subhada Dhamma Vine Ariyo Achangiko Mengo Ubalapati Ideva Subhada Samano, and so on. So this means that ascetic Subhada, that's what the Buddha said, only in this dispensation of mine, in my teaching, in my Dhamma Vinaya. Dhamma Vinaya has been explained already. Dhamma is the teaching which leads to the prosperity, the happiness, peace and happiness. And Vinaya means the discipline in order to be able to live by the rules of conduct. The method of living by the rules of conduct, that is Vinaya. So this Dhamma Vinaya is none other than Sasana. In short, it is Sasana, or teaching, or dispensation. So only in this dispensation, only in this Dhamma Vinaya is there the noble path of eight constituents. Only in this dispensation can there be the path, the practice of the path, Megha, or Ariya Megha, or Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasana means that it's a combination of the Dhamma, the teachings, and the discipline, rule of conduct. So, this has been given, the fact that Eightfold Path exists in his teaching, has been given since the time of the preaching of the first sermon, namely turning on the wheel of the Dhamma, Dhammacakka Sutta, the discourse on the wheel of the Dhamma. And throughout his 45 years of ministry, he has given this, mentioned this Eightfold Path based on the middle path. So, in every discourse the Buddha has given the Noble Path of Eight Constituents, the practice of the Noble Path of Eight Constituents. That's why I asserted that only in this Buddha Sasana is there the practice of the Eight Noble Path. But this assertion goes to prove that it is not just ordinary existence. It is a special, extraordinary existence because it has been given throughout the 45 years of his ministry. Now this, the existence of the Eightfold Path in this teaching is not just ordinary. One cannot deny the fact that it is not just ordinary existence. It is a basic existence in a basic form and also in an extraordinary form. Now such words were the very words of the Buddha, not the words given in the commentaries or sub-commentaries. And there is nothing excess, no deficiency. It is exact. Hence the niyama, the fixed law that the Eightfold Path exists basically in this asana or exists in an extraordinary way. So the Buddha said that ascetic Subhada is only in my dispensation, my sasana teaching, there are the sabana who extinguish Kilesas, such as the one who attained the first path and Ariyas of the first path. That is quite correct. If there is the practice to extinguish Kilesas, and if one undertakes the practice meticulously, attentively, one is bound to attain the path consciousness. There is bound to be the samana who extinguishes Kilesas. Here it is just the Kilesa extinguishers mentioned in an ordinary way. That means the Kilesa extinguishers are not just those who are wearing robes, monks. They can also be lay people. So it also concerns lay people who can realize the first path. And also, the Buddha continued to say that ida dutiyo samano means only in this dispensation also there can exist the samana of the second path. That is the samana who extinguishes the Kilesas and by realizing the second path consciousness, Sagragami. And he went on to say that only in this dispensation there can be samana of the third path. That means anagami, non-returner. And finally, only in this dispensation can there be the samana of the fourth path, the final path, arahantship. So this is how the Buddha has given. They're not just Buddha, they're not the words quoted from the commentaries or sub-commentaries, they are the very words of the Buddha. And as much as we are given this fixed law or maxim that only in this dispensation there is the Eightfold Path, the practice of the Eightfold Path, basically or extraordinarily, so too we have this second maxim that only in this dispensation there is surely the samana who extinguishes Kilesas or Kilesa extinguishers. Prior to the enlightenment of Buddha, nobody knew the Eightfold Path, practice of the Eightfold Path, not to mention exhorting or encouraging people to undertake the practice of the Eightfold Path. At that time, when Bodhisattva went around looking for the truth, the liberating teachings, he went to Uddaka, who attained 7 jhanas, but he did not know the practice of the Eightfold Path, neither did he practice nor encourage his disciples to practice. And Alara, another person who attained 8 attainments, who possessed 8 attainments, neither did he know the practice of the Eightfold Path, nor was he able to encourage or teach the practice of the Eightfold Path. So the would-be Buddha, Bodhisattva himself, studied under these 2 holy people and attained Lokiya jhanas, mundane absorptions. 7 absorptions, jhanas from one person and 8 jhanas from another person. At that, the Bodhisattva Buddha asked his teachers, whether there was any more to learn. And the teacher said, no, that's all. We can teach. You know everything now. And you know as much as we know. And you are our equals. And you can even become a meditation teacher in our center. So in this way, Alara Uddaka, these two holy people, were teaching this samatha, tranquility meditation. And in a very short time, the Bodhisattva Buddha was able to grasp all the lessons that he was able to learn from these two teachers. And when he asked, is that all? And they said, that's all. Nothing more. No more. You are like us. You are our equals. So whatever we know, you know. So in this way, they admitted. In these Samapatis, absorptions, attainments, 7 attainments, 8 attainments, there is, of course, the samadhi, the right view, the right understanding in these 7 and 8 attainments. But these samadhi, the right view, right understanding, is not the kind of right understanding, right view, which exists in the insight practice, as has been explained at some time in the past. And out of many various kinds of samadhi, right understanding, right view, there are 6. Out of them, this kind of samadhi, right view, right understanding, is called jhana samadhi, the right understanding or right view of jhana. Not the kind of right understanding, right view to penetrate the realities of mind and body, as does the insight practitioner. Instead, this jhana samadhi is concerned with the attention or noting of conceptual objects. And they know only the conceptual things, not the kind of knowledge which penetrates the ultimate realities, paramatthas. They belong to Lokiya jhanas. Hence, they are known as jhana samapatti, Lokiya samapatis. So these ascetics were not aware of the practice of Vipassana, jnana, insight knowledge, and they are not able to attain insight knowledge, not to mention attainment of samana, Kilesas extinguishers, Ariya, seeing, realizing Ariya, path and fruition knowledge of the noble ones. And not just these well-known ascetics, but even these Putujana, ordinary Brahmas, those individuals who belong to the fine material and fine immaterial worlds, Brahmas. They are like yogis. They have attained jhana, hence they are reborn in the world on the plane of Brahmas. Even they also did not know the practice of the Eightfold Path. Not to mention ordinary celestial beings and human beings. Hence, it's only in the Buddha Sasana there is the practice of the Eightfold Path. And from the time of listening to the Dhamma Chekabhavadana, standing of the wheel of the Dhamma, the first sermon, all beings, including human devas and Brahmas, are able to understand the Eightfold Path. Thus, they are able to develop these wholesome mental states such as saddha, faith and confidence continuously, and leading to chanda, zeal, continuously, leading to mindfulness, practice of mindfulness continuously, and then deepening the concentration continuously, and then developing panya, wisdom. And thus they are able to turn the wheel of the Dhamma. This means that if one walks the right path, one is bound to reach the right destination in terms of the land of peace, safe land of peace and security, and become an arya, a noble person. And as for this noble person, he or she has practiced meditation with the practice of insight, was able to cultivate knowledge, beginning with the discernment of mind and body. By discerning mind and body, and one comes to understand with one's own experience, personal experience, that there are only these two things, mind and body, nama, rupa, and nothing else. This is intuitive knowledge, learning through personal experience. Then they come to understand the linkage of cause and effect. Thus, they come to acceptance and resolution that they are interrelated. That is also through personal experience. In this way, they are able to progress along the successive stages of insight knowledge, and this acceptance, resolution also rise by leaps and bounds until one comes to the maturity of liberating wisdom, experiencing the ultimate cessation, and seeing Nibbana. Then one will come to say to oneself that this is the Dhamma. This Dhamma is correct. This is the one. And this also is faith and confidence, acceptance through one's own personal experience, experiential sada. Thus, by walking the right path, one reaches the right destination, the land of peace and security. Thus, one by Dhammacakka, one is able to turn the wheel of the Dhamma by developing this controlling faculty of sada, faith and confidence, cultivating the controlling faculty of energy, virya, and the controlling faculty of sati, samadhi, and panya. Such is turning the wheel of the Dhamma, Dhammacakka. And this Dhammacakka Bhavadana Sutta, the discourse on the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, means letting these wholesome mental states, especially the controlling faculties, to revolve around in the minds of the beings. By developing this Eightfold Path, while listening to the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, discourse on Dhammacakka, it is said that 18 crows. Now crows means not the one which are flying, but crows mean the quantity 180 million. One crow is 10 million. So 180 million Brahmas, that means those celestial beings who are living in the material planes, were able to understand the Dhamma, the teaching, and gain insight. And as for the ordinary celestial beings, devas, the number is no limit, a limitless number of celestial beings. Devas were able to gain insight. And those people became samana, who extinguished Kilesas. And as for the human beings, only Elder Kondinya attained the first path, consciousness, became samana of the first path. And as for the rest of the group of 5, such as Vabba and so on, they practiced a full path when able to become the real samana, extinguishers, Kilesa extinguishers. For those who don't believe or who are outside the Buddha's Sasana, that there is such thing as Dhamma Vinaya, either in those days or even nowadays, they are not aware of the practice of the Eightfold Path. And even in those countries where Buddha Sasana is flourishing, there are many who are not aware of the presence of the Eightfold Path. Because they don't know, they don't practice. So, outside of the Buddha Sasana, they are said to be just outside of the Buddha Sasana. So, out in the teachings outside of the Buddha Sasana, there is no practice of the Eightfold Path. So, although people are confessing that they are Buddhists, or they belong to the Buddha Sasana, if they are not aware of the practice, or if they don't believe in the practice of the Eightfold Path, then there cannot be as Eightfold Path. If there is no Eightfold Path, there cannot be the Kilesas extinguishers of the fast path and so on. Hence, the Buddha's daring remarks or assertions that Ideva, Subhada, Samano, and so on. Only in his dispensation there are these samanas who extinguish Kilesas. So in this way, the Buddha himself has said that only in his dispensation there is this practice of a full path. This statement is as a physical existence or existence in an extraordinary way. And also because there is a practice of a full path, there are samanas who extinguish Kilesas only in his dispensation. So such a assertion, a daring assertion, exact assertion, is made because it has to be made. It is necessary, not just to be famous, to be well known, or to be do unnecessary things to be famous. Because when the ascetic Subhada came, who was to become the last Arahant in his dispensation, in his ministry, now he had some doubts to be cleared. He came with great reliance, dependence, with great faith that only Buddha himself would be able to clear his doubts. Because he was very doubtful, his doubts were not clear. He had not been able to clear his doubts in other religious denominations. So he came to the Buddha with great reliance on the Buddha, with great faith in the Buddha. So, unless the Buddha was able to give this daring, assertions, statement, then Subhada will not be able to, will not be encouraged as much as he was able to rely. His reliance will not be so reliable. It will be so encouraging. He will not be encouraged if the assertion is not so strong and daring. So it has to be exact and daring remarks. So this kind of daring assertions, exact assertions, that only in his dispensation there is so and so a full path and Kilesas extinguishers, is something which should be said. It has to be said. So, not to denigrate, this assertion is made by the Buddha not to run down others or denigrate other denominations or doctrines or teachings. So after giving this daring assertions or statements, the Buddha continued to say that in other denominations, other systems of teaching, there is no practice of Eightfold Path, nor the samana who extinguish the Kilesas. And this is how he gave this Parabhavada, Samanobi Inyehi, Sunya. In other systems of teachings are void of these 12 noble samanas who have true knowledge as they professed. So, just like in an isolated place, quiet place, where no human beings, it is void of human beings. It is quiet because it is void of human beings. So too, outside of the Buddha Sasana, or those who don't believe in a full path or who hold the views of such teachings which are outside of the Buddha Sasana, there cannot be, or such teachings, systems of teaching are void of these samanas who extinguish the Kilesas. This shall be continued tomorrow.